Hello there, beautiful people. How are you? I hope you're having a wonderful day and a great end to the month. Oh my goodness. End of August is here. And today we are going to continue on in our healthy fall prep conversation. So if you did not catch the first couple episodes, we just talked about how we're kind of setting the stage for a good transition into the fall season, to the back to school season, and how you usually what comes with that is a need for a little revisit and a little revamp to our current systems and things like that, and really setting ourselves up for success. This is something, a lot of people focus on at the start of the year, which is awesome. But I think it's something worthwhile for every season change. So we're going to hop in today to planning your workouts. Now, before we do, the last time you're going to hear me talk about this, and maybe the first time for some of you, is that I'm doing a podcast review giveaway. It gives you a chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card, and it blesses me with your generous podcast reviews that really help get this word out to more people and bring more people to the podcast. So all you need to do to enter is wherever you listen to podcasts, if it's Spotify, Google Play, Apple, if you would be so kind as to leave a review, screenshot it and send it to me, Brittany at healthycatholicmoms.com. I'm not going to know you entered unless you screenshot and send it to me. So then you're entered. And then I am picking a winner like tomorrow, pretty much. I'm going to give this through August 31st. And then I will use a random name generator to pick a winner. And I will let that winner know. And I will announce it on the podcast as well. So thank you so much in advance. And I also want you to know that the 8-week program that I offer, it is all about fat loss. I teach you all my basics of hydration, of proper nutrition, of strength training. The chance to do this is kicking off September 18th. This is the last one for 2023. I only run it a couple times a year and I limit the spots. This is where a lot of times, if you follow me on social, you see the before and after pictures and things like that from this program. So you can head over to my website, healthycatholicmoms.com, under work with me and find out more. And you can also email me if you need more information on it and or to see if it's a good fit for you. Sometimes there's just specific situations where somebody will say like, hey, I'm like 2 weeks postpartum. Can I do this? Or I am actually recently, the last couple times, it's been, hey, I'm about 8 weeks or 6 weeks postpartum. Can I do it? And there's definitely ways we can work with that. I've had ladies do my postpartum program workouts, but still participate in every other aspect of the challenge because it's so foundational in the nutrition department that it's definitely worth your time there. That's another big question I get is like, hey, I'm doing something else workout wise. I'm working with a trainer in person, or I'm doing beach body workouts, or I'm in this or whatever. Should I still do it for just nutrition? Yes. I've had people who have been out on injury do it just for nutrition and found so much benefit in it. So tons of testimonials on the website, tons of social proof. And it's just really the slow, sustainable way to make lasting change, so that you have to put a little bit of effort into learning this in the beginning, but then you just work the system after that. All right, into planning your workouts. Now, if you are, last time I'll mention that, if you're doing your workouts with me in the 8-week program, you're not really going to need this episode too much. You do have to still make it kind of fit your life, but that, that's one thing off your plate. You won't have to do this, but bear with me because I did mention last episode, like whether or not you program your own workouts, I think some of these steps will still be helpful to you. Even in the Chasing Greatness group, that's the monthly workout program for those who've already done the 8-week. I talk about all the time, like you have to personalize it. If those are planned to be 5 days a week, but if you're only working out 4 days a week, we can combine. If you're working out 6 days a week, there's things we can add and things like that. So number one in planning your workouts, I want you to start with how many times a week your schedule allows you to work out. You can stand working out, you get to work out, etc. We want to be reasonable about this number. And I also ask this of any of my one-on-one clients. If I'm going to set up a one-on-one program for them and just help them to do this, like that's what I do in my coaching calls, is help you do this, walk you through these steps. I always ask, like, what is actually reasonable? If you think like, yeah, put me down for 5 days a week or put me down for 6 days a week, but you kind of know deep down there's a fat chance of that happening, slim chance of that happening, then let's go for a more attainable number. I also will say a little bit of a different route I thought to go with this. I have a client right now who at the time of this has already reached her goal of feeling lean and mean for an anniversary trip, but we've been working together for several months. She did the 8-week challenge with me back in the beginning of the year in January. And then after it ended, she's like, I have this anniversary trip coming up and I, want to still make progress and, be feeling really good for my trip. So we would just do some coaching calls throughout the year. She's in the Chasing Greatness group. And she asked me as it got closer, like, what more can I do to really feel my absolute best? And there's some different nuanced things we can do that, like, I only recommend for when you're really trying to lean out, like avoiding gluten and dairy. I don't always say to do that, but I would avoid it to just banish bloat and kind of, get those last whatever. I'm not going to go too much into excess at the point of this. But another thing I mentioned was like she was working out 3 to 4 times a week at that time. And I said, like, we can actually up this. There's not many times I say, like, I am usually a fan of kind of quote unquote getting by with the bare minimum, because for most of us, then if we can get more than that, that's awesome. But we want to set ourselves up for success. And I think a big misconception is we have to be working out every day to see results. We have to do 6 workouts a week to see results. We don't have to, but if you want to accelerate progress or you really want to make some headway on your goals, then by all means, shoot for more, like push yourself in that department. And maybe you're a person who does really well with having something that is every day. So you do better with 6 workouts a week. And then on your rest day, you go for a walk or something. Like for some people, it's easier to have something you do every single day versus something you do just sometimes because you forget about it or you don't work it in. Whereas if it's daily, sometimes it's easier to make it a habit. So just assess that. Like, what does this season look like? Should you, a lot of times with clients, I'll plan for 4 and say an optional 5 or something like that. I'm making up the numbers here. It might be plan for 3 and have an optional 4th so that they have their bare minimum to get in. But then if it's a good week and they have a little more flexibility, they can shoot for that one. And then you kind of feel like it's a little bit of psychology there too. Like, oh, you feel good about yourself because you got a bonus in, not, oh, I feel shamed and guilty because I didn't get all of mine in. So be realistic. And then also this goes right into number 2, which is to think about your goals, because if you have some intense, and I always encourage performance goals, not just physique goals. So yes, I just mentioned somebody pretty focused on physique goals going into, a fun, momentous, memorable event. And I was like that before our wedding and things, like, I think there's a time and place for that, but also performance goals, because this should ideally match up. If you want to do a powerlifting competition, but you're going to give 3 days a week to working out, that's probably not the route you want to go. And some people probably do train like that and are fine. You kind of need a good base built up though already. You're not going to find most people who are doing a bodybuilding competition working out 3 days a week. And so we don't all have to be powerlifters, bodybuilders. I'm none of those things. But if you have a specific goal in mind that you want to work towards, that can help you determine your frequency. So that can help you answer number 1. But also this is going to shape the rest of your program. So even if you've kind of set those days, you're like, yep, nope, 3 with an optional 4th sounds good, or 5 sounds good, whatever it is. Do you want to, or do you need to train for anything cardio related? Do you want to go try to take an in-person class once a week? Like, these are the things I want you to think about, because that factors in to what your actual workouts are going to look like. Now, cardio is one of those things. I've talked about this in many episodes. Like, do I need it in? Can I skip it? Whatever. This is a really personal one, and science can go both ways on this. There are some studies that show, like, as long as you're doing strength training, you're getting those heart pumping benefits, and you can absolutely raise your heart rate by strength training, especially doing heavy weights and that kind of thing, or moving quickly like a circuit style. So you can get some of those cardio benefits, and you don't have to necessarily do what you would consider traditional cardio. However, there's people who love cardio who are like, oh my gosh, like, it's such a good endorphin boost. And I completely relate to it being a good endorphin boost. Like, there is something that I get they're like, my mood is so much different after a spin class than it is after a strength training session, and I'll feel different after a strength training session. I might feel powerful and strong and like it was a good workout and whatever. But when I get off a spin bike, I feel like that euphoric whatever. So that's all worth considering. What do you enjoy? What do you want in there? If you, if you, the thought of getting on a spin bike makes you want to go back to bed, then like, that's fine. You can do that you can organize your schedule without cardio in there. So think about your preferences a little bit and your goals. All right. Now, number 3, this is where I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. Make space for at least 3 strength training workouts. Whether or not you want to have cardio in there, you need a minimum of 3 strength training workouts. And this is science meets Brittany's personal opinion. Yes, life happens sometimes, or travel happens, or sickness happens, and we don't get 3 in. Maybe we get 1 in, whatever, and we work with what we've got. I actually encourage people to, when they enter the 8-week challenge, if they are going from absolutely no workouts or just walking, I do actually encourage them to start with just 1 strength and then work their way up to 2 and to 3 and work up to the 5 that we have in there a week, but not to just hop in whole hog at 5 workouts a week. So that's totally fine. But once you're in the groove, and if you're somebody who is more seasoned, you need 3 strength trainings in there. Strength training is so important. I'm not going to go into all of the reasons why in this episode, but for not only the right now and the physique changes, like that is huge in and of itself. A lot of people think fat loss is going to happen through cardio when really you make the changes to your physique through strength training. But beyond that, it is so important as we age for bone density, for guarding ourselves against injury, for revving our metabolism, all these things. So whatever you do with this next step, I'm going to give you some examples of like how you can structure your actual week based on how many times a week you do want to work out. You need a bare minimum of 3. Okay. So number 4, as you plan out the rest of the days, the extras, etc., say that was your number 3 days a week. That should probably be full body. Most of the time, if somebody tells me they're going to do 3 days a week, I tell them to do full body. Other times I will split it up, upper body one day, lower body another day, and then full body one day. I do that sometimes to combat soreness, because some people, especially if you're newer to working out, if you do full body, you might be a little bit sore by the time it's time for your next workout, because you're looking at doing it like 2 days later and your legs might still be sore. So giving that space of like upper body, then you don't have to do upper body for a couple days. Then you do lower body. So you've had time to rest by the time you get back around to full body, and you can mix in other things with it. I typically do. We do a lot of times in the Chasing Greatness group or in the challenge, like upper and core, lower and HIIT, or upper and mobility, lower and core, that kind of thing. So could be 3 full body strength, but you could still want to split it up differently into upper and lower and things like that. Now, if you want to work out 5 days a week and you don't want to do cardio, maybe that split looks like upper, lower, full body, upper, lower. And full body, you're just planning on not doing so many sets to each muscle group that you're sore for that upper or lower, since you're kind of doing it right in the middle there. Maybe you don't want to do cardio and you're still going with 5 days a week, and you do push, pull, legs, upper, lower. So you're splitting up those muscle groups. Of your push muscles would be chest, tricep, and delts. Pull would be back, bicep, and rear delts. You guys know what legs and glutes entail: quads, hamstrings, glutes, all that. And then your 4th day, you combine that whole upper body together. So it's push and pull. And then your 5th day, you go back to lower body. Another option, maybe you are still working 5 days a week. I know I'm kind of going through these quickly, so pause me, rewind if you need to. Maybe you're still wanting to do 5 days a week, but so you do upper, lower, core, upper, lower, getting rid of a full body, but giving a whole day to core. There are things about that go back to your goals in here, where if you particularly want to get really good at something, it should appear in there a couple times a week. Like there have been times where I wanted to focus on getting body weight pull-ups. So I wanted to make sure that I had 2 upper body days in there, but then I also wanted pull-ups on a 3rd day. I wanted them 3 days in there. So that might have looked like having upper, lower, full, but on that full body day, I was also doing pull-ups because I wanted to specifically train that exercise or something to that too. We'll talk about it at a later date, like some specificity in your working out that, yes, you can do lat pull downs and dumbbell lat pullovers and things to build up your lats, but you also just need to get really specific about training the exercise you want to get better in. Okay. Now, If you're going for broke and you want to do the 6 workouts with cardio, let's say, maybe you follow any of those that I mentioned above, but you just add a cardio day or you add HIIT to the end of some of your workout sessions. So there's ways to personalize. I think the only one I didn't talk about was 4 days, which you could do upper, lower, or a combination of 3 full body days and a cardio day. There's so much freedom in this, and I want you to ideally make a plan that you're excited about. And if you're in the Chasing Greatness group, that's the monthly workout group. It's 5 workouts a week, but it varies a little bit. Some months I have like just a mobility day. Sometimes mobility is paired with something else. Sometimes, like, this isn't here yet, but in December, I pare it down to just those 3 full body because December is really busy. But the nice thing is too, I want you guys to know this, if you're in the Chasing Greatness group right now and you're not aware of it, you can go back through any previous months to find something more your speed. So if there was a month where we did 6 a week and you want to bump it up to that, go do that one. If you want to, and so you have all this previous year and all of 2022 at your disposal as well. All right. Lastly, hopefully this has helped you shape it, get a good picture for what your workout program should look like. Number 5 is to know what you're doing, plan them out, and make sure they make sense. This is a really big one that maybe you want to plan your own thing and whatnot. They have to make sense. So that would be worth, I know I'm not just like, I've done a lot of self-promotion on this episode, which is unlike me, but because I know it's good for you. Like, I obviously think that what I put the time and energy and effort into programming is effective. I know it is, and it's efficient and all of those things. But a coaching call would go a long way in just like overlooking what you're doing and then giving feedback on it. I had a client who we were working one-on-one just nutrition together, and she was seeing some change, but not a ton, but she was doing her own thing with the workouts. So one day we just hopped on a coaching call and I was like, okay, lay out your workouts for me. And they did not make sense. Like the bones were in there. We had like the push, the pull, the legs, whatever, but the order was real random. Like, and some of the exercises didn't fit what her goals were. The rep range did not fit what her goals were and things like that. So there's a reason, like, that would literally be me trying to change the oil of my car. Or I know a lot of people actually change their oil, but do anything like that. Like, I could have all the right parts going on, but like the order would not be right. The things, a lot of times, if we try to piecemeal things, we need some experience in that area. Many of you, I know, listening to this right now have worked with me in the past and maybe started out at, getting program workouts for me or something one-on-one or 8-week challenge, and then have branched out and you do your own or you personalize your own. A lot of you I know do that in the Chasing Greatness group. Like, you modify them to make it your own, and that's awesome. And you have the knowledge behind it. It's very hard to just come out of the gate and do that. And a lot of times it is people too who are knowledgeable, but it's just they throw things together in a wacky combination that's just not going to push them toward their goals. And we all do that when we're, like I said, like, it's not our experience or our expertise. There's plenty of things that I do that with. I just like a la carte things and it does not work out. So make sure it makes sense and then put your workout plan somewhere visual. For me, I put that right on the whiteboard on the side of our fridge, which is where I put our meals. I just also put in what workout I'm doing, what day, and have a plan for it. I've also mentioned before, like, getting really specific. Don't just put upper body. If you're planning your own workout, you could put that, on your dry erase board, upper body, but then have a separate plan for what you're going to do that day. Cause that helps. That was the episode. We talked about that in the decision fatigue episode. You don't want to get to Wednesday upper body that you're doing on your own, not in one of my programs or not with a YouTube video or not with whatever. And you have to like Instagram exercises, look up stuff on YouTube, like have a plan ready to go. All right. Okay, ladies, this is the last episode of August. So you'll not hear me talk about the podcast review giveaway again. So praise the Lord for that. What you will hear is me announce the winner, not next episode, but should be in the episode after that. And if you want to find yourself in one of these programs, we are going to be kicking off September here together in the Chasing Greatness group. So that is going to be fat loss focused workouts and all that great stuff, meal plan calendar, live workouts together. We've got the 8-week challenge kicking off September 18th. Lots of fun stuff ahead. So thank you so much for being here, for being part of the Healthy Catholic Moms community. It really, truly does mean a lot. I feel like I was speeding through this episode a little bit because I've got, I don't know if you've heard of them or not. My husband's home. I don't usually record podcasts at this time. It's like evening. They're getting ready for bed and stuff, but I've got little feet running around above me. Someone, I definitely know the sound of it, dropped or dumped an entire bucket of those little like counting bears because I heard them go everywhere. So I don't want to sound at all distracted or ungrateful or any of those things. I love this time with you. I love this community and all of that. It's just mom life behind the scenes. So I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I want you to know next episode what to be on the lookout for. Next episode, we are talking about, oh, shocker, healthy fall prep and how to incorporate self care into it. So we'll continue on. All right, ladies, have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you next time.